Okay, folks, so what we're looking at here is another updated bunch of numbers which the vast majority of gamblers would not be interested in, because they're just basically boring and unfun. But if you are concerned about getting inside these games and discovering how to beat them on a consistent basis, then there should be value for you here and in a few other sets of large data sets that I'm going to be putting up in this particular video, in this demo. What you're looking at basically is 99,336 rounds dealt out by Baccarat WinPro, and available to anybody who asks for them nicely. The data has absolutely nothing whatever to do with me. I don't manipulate it, I don't crook it, I don't fiddle with it. What I do is I just punch it into a model and let the algorithm do its work, and then give me a number at the end of the process which says, okay, using the data that you gave me, this would be the algorithm talking to me if algae could actually speak, okay, using the data that you gave me, here is what would happen if you followed the rules as you laid them out. And let me make it absolutely clear, I have never suggested and will never suggest that everybody who goes into a casino and takes on one of these table games should bet at this sort of level. That would be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, impossible. You know, it would require an entire nation of billionaires, or at least every visitor to Las Vegas to be a billionaire, and that's never going to happen. What I'm trying to do here is to simply provide incontrovertible proof that if you bet randomly against random outcomes, you will get your backside kicked and your bankroll demolished. But if you bet progressively in a sensible way, you can beat these games consistently, time and time and time and time again. But you know, exactly how you go about it, that obviously depends on the amount of your bankroll. But nobody should go to any of these games in Las Vegas or in any other casino with less than $100,000 if they're going to bet at 25 minimum, and even that is not enough. You know, the best thing you can do is teach yourself that playing any of these games is ridiculous, it's stupid, it will not make you any money. And if you want to say to yourself, but I am greatly entertained by handing over 2,000 of my hard-earned wages, or 10,000 or 5,000 or whatever it might be, I love to lose, it excites me and entertains me, blah blah blah, then fine, up to you. The problem that I'm having, and I was in full flight on this actually, and then I discovered a very, very minor error in the algorithm here, which I had to quickly take care of. But one of the things that really gets me about people like Vegas Matt and Mr. Handpay and Brandon O'Brien and all of these other guys who have gambling channels on YouTube is that they pretend that they're winning, but if you examine what they're putting up closely, you see that they're not winning. They're up shit creek as far as gambling is concerned, but they're making money from Google from putting up a gambling channel, which, as in the case of Vegas Matt, who seems right now to be about #1 in the gambling channel stakes, you know, he's getting money back from FanDuel, from promotions, from all kinds of deals that he's got going on, which have nothing to do with actually gambling. The only thing that he's doing when it comes to gambling is putting on a show, and that show itself is losing money. He's losing money hand over fist. He's losing money at slots. He's losing money at table games, largely because he plays the most idiotic game that you could possibly imagine. But he's entitled to do that. It's his money. I mean, I assume it's his money. But I think all of these people should be required with their channels to put up a notice that says, I lose money at gambling. I make it back and then some through Google, through clicks from folks like you. So please, make sure you sit through a few ads all the way to the end, click like, and keep coming back and doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, Matt Morrow is now at 830,000. The last time I looked, he made another stupid bet, 8,300 on Banker. He's entitled to do it. I'm entitled to, because he's putting himself out in public. I'm entitled to say that he's a prat. You know, that's a free country. That's First Amendment rights and all that shit. But anyway, getting back to the nitty gritty here, we are looking at a 9.8% hold of our total action. Average bet for me, or for the algorithm, for Algae, was $600 through this 100,000, nearly 100,000 rounds. That's way beyond the capability of the vast majority of people, and I completely accept that, and obviously I should accept it because it's simple logic, common sense, etc., etc. I just want people to realize that if you don't go to these games with a lot of money and a lot of knowledge about the game, and if you don't use a progressive betting strategy, you are going to lose your money. And why don't you just mail it in, or why don't you spend it on something that's a lot more fun? And I just hope that all of the people who lose tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions in Las Vegas are actually gambling with their own money. Because, you know, here we are in our society these days worried about secondhand smoking and the health damage that it can cause to innocent people who don't smoke. What about secondhand gambling? You know, all of the people whose money is being put on the table without their knowledge, you know, sort of wives, children, dependents, whatever, you know. I mean, it's a bloody mess. This whole obsession that we have with gambling these days is a bloody mess. Pretending that it's legitimate and decent and honest and fair is just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. I love to gamble. That's a big part of my problem. It's kind of a dichotomy, if you like. You know, I know that gambling is crooked the way that it's presented. I know that it can be beaten. I've been working on it for 50 years or more, you know. But anyway, let's leave this one here just to say, look at the chart over there. Look at the win at the top. You know, the rules are absolutely simple. The bets are ridiculous. Nobody can match that. But look up here, the house edge for player, and I prefer to bet on player, so I go back to player if I can. But the house advantage minus 1.41. Banker wins more, but if you change that figure 45,524 into 95% of it, then it comes down to 43,248, which means that player actually does better on his own. And I could reset this to player, but I'm not going to go there because there's just so much stuff going on. Now I've got the two Zumma data sets and the two WizOdds data sets, so I've got to get through those before I'm already getting sick of the sound of my own voice, and you may not believe that, but it's true. So what else do I need to, where do I need to go on this? Yeah, there's the negative up here. Hop achieves a player edge of 4% over here. If that 4% were multiplied by, or if this action were multiplied by that 4%, then the expected win is 234,000 over here. That's per AV, which is the AV over here, and that is a slight player edge. But what do we do when instead we don't win 234,000, we win 5.848 million. It's just theoretical. It's funny money. I get all that. But these figures are honest, accurate, mathematical, completely trustworthy, and there's nothing I can do for you if you don't believe that. I had one guy leave a comment that said, obviously I can see what you're doing. You are betting according to the result of the next bet, which you know in advance, which is oh God, it's so infuriating. You know, the amount of detail that I go into in all these demos and all the rest of it, and then I get a complete bloody as Donald Trump was accurately described by his Secretary of State. I get some fucking moron who comes along and says something like that, and it's kind of funny. Because when I first started putting this stuff on the internet in 1996, will you believe, I said then, obviously, since you are going to lose more bets than you win over time, you must bet in such a way that you win more when you win than you lose when you lose, by a percentage which exceeds the percentage of the house advantage, the negative expectation for the game, in other words. And I had one guy come back to me and say, within hours, saying, I get it. Okay, so you bet more when you know you're going to win, and you bet less when you know you're going to lose. Well, I mean, that's the level of intellect that I encounter all the time with people on the internet, and I'm sure now, I mean, it's just happened on YouTube, so it's back, or it's still with us. But then, I'm talking about a country where Donald Trump could turn out to be the next president come January 20th, 21st, or 20th. So what can you say about America except, oh dear? And I did live there for nearly 40 years, so I do know what I'm talking about, in case you wondered that if you think I'm just somebody sitting in England being snarky, I'm not. I am being snarky, but I think I've earned the right. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here we go with the second data set, and I'm kind of disappointed because Zumma Publishing, which was around for quite a while, putting out all kinds of stuff about Baccarat, I don't know, turn of the century, I guess, maybe even a bit earlier than that, around the time that I started peppering the internet with the heretical notion that progressive betting is the only way to beat games of negative expectation. Anyway, I went looking for them just now to see if I could just put in a quick screenshot of one of their books, and they seem to have vanished off the face of the earth. But anyway, if you Google Zumma, Z-U-M-M-A, or Z-U-M-M-A, if you insist, you non-English speakers, you will find them. They've been around for a long time, and there are two sets. One is 1,000, so-called 1,000 real shoes from Baccarat tables around the world, and then the other one is a smaller set of 600. So we're looking at the first book data set, which is 1,000, and that's 80,651 rounds altogether. The house edge is minus 1.63% if you just look at the number of player wins compared to the number of banker wins. However, what you always have to do, as I just said in the last segment, is that you need to count the banker wins as 0.95 to 1 rather than even money. And once you do that, you get a different number. You get the banker wins being worth 35,294 over here, and player wins of 35,959. So sorry, my eyes are a bit sort of whatever. So that's the story with this set. Exactly the same set of rules. Sorry about the sound of my blinds there, but the light's going already. We've put the clocks back a bit earlier than America, and I don't know why we keep doing it. It's so bloody stupid. What do I know? I'm not a politician, so I'm just not smart enough. Anyway, we get one bust. Let's go and have a look at the one bust. It's pretty bloody horrible. The bets are ridiculous. I get that, but all I'm trying to do is to get across proof that if you don't have an enormous amount of money behind you, and if you don't have an incredibly clever betting strategy like pattern betting with double or drop, then you are up shit creek. You know, that's really what it's about. And if you go and you look at this lot here, I mean, this is just went on forever. This here is an example of where it's very difficult to teach an algorithm absolutely everything it needs to know, and it's skipped out here after only a single loss, and that doesn't make sense. And in fact, if you look here, what would have happened? Boom, boom, boom! All of a sudden, the loss would have been obliterated, because we had 4 wins in a row, and then we had 6 wins in a row. So I'm leaving that simply because I'm stuck with it. You know, I mean, I teach the algorithm what to do. Every so often it gets to a situation which is unreal, but you know, I have to leave it alone in order to be transparent and totally honest, etc., etc., etc. So what do we get here? We've got one bust. We had a near bust here. We had a nasty threat there. One more nasty threat there. Another one here, then a bust. So what have we had? We've had 4 in 80,651 bets. We had 4 serious threats, which doesn't seem so terrible to me. But anyway, the rules are exactly the same as for the last set, for the, you know, for what I call the current set, which is the Baccarat WinPro Baccarat results. And we've got a win, but we had to suffer a loss. And obviously that eventually, more than likely, will be recovered, but who knows? Well, I know. I'm telling you, but you know, nothing is absolutely for certain, so I've got to be careful here. Just to go back to this minus 1.63 up here, over here you'll see that the hop flipped that into a very, very slight, once again, a very slight player advantage of 0.3 of 1%, and that's not, you know, worth getting excited about. But we've got a win rate in this particular data set of 99.99%. It's actually a little bit higher than that, but why bother to go? I don't know. I suppose I could go mad here and increase it to 4 places. Okay. So 99.9918%, which I think is pretty bloody good. I don't know what you reckon, but anyway, let's leave this one now, and I'll load up the next one and add that to the the huge pile of numbers that nobody's going to look at because they're all mad gamblers fooling themselves that they're having a good time and loving the free drinks, which are the most expensive drinks they've ever had in their lives, but then that's another story, isn't it? Okay, so I can't pretend to be super fond of the Zumma data because you know, it's come up with another bust, and I'm honestly dedicated to being as transparent as I possibly can, so exactly the same rules are applied all the way across this this data set, and so, you know, you will see here good progress made all the way up to a win of 500,000, and then boom, a huge drop, and then basically, you know, some threats in the next lot here, but nothing too terrible. I mean, you know, bad enough, but we're pretending that we've got a huge amount of money behind us. I mean, at least $3 million, right? So we're betting from $25 up to 500,000. We had in this particular set here, we had 13 bets of 500,000. We've got everything else is set exactly as before, and just to show you that I'm being straightforward and honest with you, if I wanted to, I could reset the WinPro, sorry, the win progression to 2. Come on then. do your number, there you go, and you see what happens. Everything gets great. But decency, honesty and transparency doesn't allow me to do that, so I have to stick with the same old, same old. You know, so we'll leave it at that. Throw away the 2 million and plus another 1.25 million, 1.25, whatever. 1.25, no, it's 1.125. I'll get there eventually, just bear with me. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Not great, you know, but hey, when you consider what we won from the first thing, the Baccarat WinPro set, what can I tell you? I mean, I am somewhat suspicious of the Zumma data, largely because it doesn't behave the same way as the stuff from Baccarat WinPro and the stuff from the Wizard of Odds. But you know, I promised that I would get into my archives and pull out verifiable data from years ago. This lot that dates back to the last time it was edited, I think, was 2013, when I introduced 3-play online, and this is 3-play in spades. It's over here for the skip, it's over here for the hop, and it's over here for the drop. So you know, and yet again we've got to let's change that to okay, this time slightly less, 99.9854. So sorry about that, people, but anyway, this is another data set with lots of good stuff happening, but we had a bust, and it was an expensive one for 2.5 million. I don't think this is going to take us there. Yeah, that reference isn't valid, so I'm going to do a very quick search here. Forgive me for this. I should have done it before I turned on the recorder. Control F, and we're looking for 2689. I just want to show you what a bust looks like. There we are. And what's important, of course, when you do this is to look at what went before and think, really? Yeah, and this is just like the last one. It's like it's the same set. 3 wins in a row. See, we ducked out, and the algorithm is doing this. It shouldn't be doing this, but I can't think of a way to write it so that it doesn't make this mistake. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, let's just leave it alone. Let it fuck up every so often, and then go and have a look at where it's done it. And you can see here, if it hadn't done that, if it said, okay, starting a new shoe here, so we'll bet 100,000 again, and we win it, and then we bet 500,000, then we lose 3 500,000s, and then we win 5 500,000s, and that gets us out of trouble. So you see what my motivation is. I'm sort of saying, okay, if we go and take a close look at some of these nasty situations, you can see that they're not quite what they seem to be. So 12722, I'll just reset that. Edit hyperlink. Okay, and that should then take us there and take us back. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so you can see that you know, I'm trying my best just to show you that progressive betting is the only way to go, but I'm sort of hamstringing myself in a way because I can't mess with the formulas. I have to leave them alone, and you can make up your own minds as to the relevance of these data sets. I mean, I've always thought of these things as being kind of a guide. This tells us this is what we need to do in real play, in real time, for real money, but we need to adapt for the fact that we are in real time, real play, real money, and we're real people, whereas Algae, the algorithm that's at work in all of these things, is he's certainly very consistent, but he's not human by any stretch of the imagination. So there we have that. I don't know there's any point to me, you know, I mean, I just, all of these models are the same, you know, the horizontal lines mean that we've turned around, and you can see that if you bet progressively, then you'll keep turning around, and you keep, you know, your bankroll keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the number here, you know. So now we're at 962, and we've got 962 bets or less, and we're at 31,100, and on you go. And then of course you get the bankruptcy. I've just shown you that. You can see that really it shouldn't have happened, but it did, because I'm stuck with it. So I'm just trying to do my best to be straightforward, honest, and hard-working. Okay, so here's data set number 4. This is the Wizard of Odds, his first challenge, which was 1,008 deck shoes, and this was put out probably, oh, I don't know, 20 years ago maybe. I think since then he's put up like 10 million or something like that, and maybe one of these days I'll actually dig those out and run them, but not with this computer, I tell you. I mean, it's doing its job, but oh dear, every so often it freezes completely. It's very slow compared to you know, what's needed for a job as complex as this. But anyway, we're looking at another 83, nearly 84,000 bets, and we've come out with a win which blows away the losses from Zumma, the one loss from Zumma, and you know, it gives us a 9% hold, and blah de blah de blah. Everything is the same. The win progression is +1 unit basically, and you can see down here the way it works. You know, you go 25. All right, so that was a tie. So then you add 25, and then add another 25. That was a tie. So you add another 25 until you get to the max, the plus max, which is 125, and you keep going. And if you win enough plus maxes, then you know, you give up and you fall back to the minimum bet. And that's one of the absolute most important things about this particular strategy is always make sure you start a new battle, a new skirmish, a new brawl, a new rumble, a new whatever the hell you want to call it. But each session is a brief, you know, sort of challenge of the house edge, and as soon as you get your bankroll up to it's a new max, you know, then you drop back. And going to the top here, you know, you look and say, okay, here is the bankroll in this column here, you know, and then we finally got into a modest profit here, and so we're 75 ahead, and then we come down, and then each time 925 is higher than 325, and 1,325 is a new high versus 925, and then you come down again, and 1,575, and so on. So I mean, you get the picture there. You know, slowly but surely you're going to new high, and every time you reach a new high, in other words, you get out of trouble and come out with a profit, then you go back to the minimum bet, which happens to be 25 in these these tests, trials, models, whatever you want to call them. So that's about it, really, isn't it? It's impressive, in my opinion. Oh, one thing that I keep forgetting to mention, of course, is commission. This number here is net of commission. So what this cell does is it adds up all the wins and losses here, and then it takes away commission over here. And you will notice time and again that the commission is a lot higher than 5%. It's 12% here, for instance, of the total win. So, you know, that's the way it goes. That's the price you pay. They're providing you with the game, and you have to pay rent, or you have to pay a service charge, and that is the service charge, is commission. I try to run away from it if I can. I hate it, but it's a fact of life. There are lots of things that I don't like in life. I don't like downpours when I'm out without an umbrella, and I don't like very, very hot or very, very cold weather. I can't stop them. I just have to go with the flow. So you know, that's life, ain't it? So that's the Wizard of Odds 8-deck shoes, and we got a very healthy win there. So moving on. Alright folks, so here we go with the fifth and final data set. This is simulated 6-deck shoes, verifiable on the Woo, the Wizard of Odds website. It's 62,624 bets. Why does it say sets there? It does, so I'll fix that right now. Oh, I remember a long time ago, something went haywire and all the B's were turned into C's, and obviously I didn't get all of them. But same parameters, exactly the same parameters as before, which is, you know, sort of like the 3 play, -3 over here, -3 there, -3 there. It is what it is, as they say. You know, I mean, it's another substantial win. It's 10.6% of total action. The figure here is net of commission paid over here. The commission over here was 463,000, which is 13% of the total win, not as pretended 5%. And we all hate commission, but we have to deal with it. It's life. So on we go. Just for your edification, here is the house advantage for this particular data set. It's basically minus 1.2%. Bankers did better than players, won more bets than player, but when you knock the banker figure down to 95% or by 5%, chop off 5%, then you get a number which is lower than the number of player wins. And I think this is something that you know, all of the people who listen to what the staff in casinos, the dealers will say, or the pit bosses will tell you, they'll say, back banker because it wins more often. I mean, come on. Well, if you get advice from a dealer or from a pit critter in a casino, you know that that's not what you should do. You know, I mean, think about it. So anyway, we've got a negative up here of minus 1.2. Once again, the hop killed that and replaced it with a player edge, very tiny, less than half of 1%, 0.3 of 1%. And, you know, that's really not terrible, is it? You know, I mean, it also led to a total win of 3,200,000 over this period. And here, oh, I keep forgetting to mention this, of course. Over here it says the win per hour at 70 bets an hour. That's actually a bit cheeky. I think that 70 bets is not that likely. 99. I'll put 99 and just see what that does. Somewhat less. Oh no, somewhat more. Oh, I went the wrong way, didn't I? What a silly Billy I am. I should have made that 1 bet a minute. I mean, actually, if you're playing mini back in a casino, you know, you're going to make a lot more money. But anyway, you can see what I'm getting at here. I mean, it's a substantial win, and it's consistent. That's the thing. And there's no cheating going on here. There's no, you know, I mean, all these systems that sell for a huge amount of money, and they claim to be predictive. They can spot trends. They can exploit trends. That's not what we're about. What we're about, Alexa,
this is a reminder,
stop.
Drink water.
I am awash. Alexa, stop. She doesn't listen to me. Sometimes you have to deal with that in your life, don't you? But the ladies are lovely. Okay, so here's a win progression. You know, where you win 125, and then lose it and say, okay, well, you know, I've already had a good run, so let's wrap it up and go back to the minimum. I'm doing this because it's the last data set, so I'm just going slowly down so that you can see. I mean, that Wally who said, yeah, I can see what you're doing. You're betting according to what's coming next because you know what's coming next. What a bozo. What did he call himself? Napalm something or other. Yeah. Is that enough? I mean, I would have thought it would be. And you can always, if there's something you really want to look at, you can always stop and have a look at it. Freeze your frame or whatever. So there we go. Job done. Oh, what I forgot to do. Did I set this or not? Oh, I did set it. Okay. And look at this. You see. I mean, this is another thing. Would a human actually go through this? Would a human put up with this? I mean, it's not believable, you know. But again, I say to you, you know, I can't alter things to make them work for me because it's dishonest, you know. I mean, I'm not fiddling anything here. I'm not selling anything. I'm not trying to I don't know, capture some nutty billionaire who to bankroll me or whatever. All I want to do is make as many people as possible examine the stupidity of betting randomly against random outcomes. It is dumb, you know. And if you think about it for just a little while, and watch these guys on YouTube if you must, and look at their stupidity, their idiocy, their absolute bloody irresponsibility, their recklessness. I mean, it's crazy. But by golly, they're making money at it, not from gambling, but from people going clickety, 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 click, and subscribing and joining and you know, whatever. It's a business model that obviously works extremely well. I read somewhere that if YouTube were to be spun off from Google into a separate company, it would be worth 50 billion from the get-go. You know, I mean, just boom, just like that, because it provides a huge portion of Google's wealth, and they bought it. Google bought it for not very much. I think it was maybe 15 billion. I'm not sure. Alexa, how much did Google pay for YouTube?
From TalkVietnam.com, Google bought YouTube in 2006 for $1.65 billion.
Bloody hell! Oh, it must be the best money anybody's ever spent anywhere. I mean, it's definitely a 50 billion company now. So, you know, at 1.65, I thought it was at least 10 times that. Damn! So there you have it. Anyway, next time.